Hi, Science fans. Dan Casciano here. Welcome to another edition of Science and Other Stuff for Senior Citizens. In the present video, we will be focusing on the primary functions of DNA. Welcome to another video highlighting science and other stuff for senior citizens. The present video focuses on the functions of human DNA. Don't forget to subscribe to the channel and click on the bell. This slide is here to remind us of the structure of the human cell, which contains many organelles required for its function. The cell structure and organelle function were described in previous videos, as well as the structure of the cell nucleus. The nucleus contains the DNA, often described as the stuff of life, and its function is the focus of this presentation. In addition to the many organelles and DNA, the human cell also contains other critical cellular molecules necessary for life. These include RNAs, proteins, carbohydrates, lipids, and other organic and inorganic components. These critical molecules contribute to the structure and function of the intact cell. In addition to its many functions, the DNA has two primary functions: replication, which involves duplication of the 23 pairs of chromosomes that contains the bulk of the nuclear DNA in preparation for cell division, and transcription, which transcribes DNA to messenger RNA for its eventual translation in the cytoplasm to produce critical cellular proteins. Cells need to replicate DNA and divide. The human body is made up of about 30 trillion cells. These all originate from a single cell, the ovum or the egg. It is arguably the most important cell in the body. Once the egg is fertilized by a sperm, it begins to divide and to increase its numbers, and the resulting cells differentiate into various cell and tissue types. For example, brain, lung, liver, skin, etc. This cartoon represents the process of replication of the DNA and cellular division. The DNA is duplicated in a resting cell, and it is replicated faithfully. And then it is eventually transferred into daughter cells after it divides. The daughter cells, or progeny, are exact clones of the initial cell from which the DNA was replicated. This slide is a more defined representation of the DNA replication process. In this cartoon, one of the 46 human chromosomes is shown. The chromosome is made up of DNA and a variety of structural and regulatory proteins. The DNA begins to unwind from its tightly wound condition in the chromosome. As the DNA strands are unwound by specific proteins, each strand serves as a template for making an exact copy. The copying process is exacerbated or led by the protein DNA polymerase. This molecule is responsible for the faithful insertion of the monomers of the DNA such that the DNA is replicated in a faithful manner. The second primary function of the DNA is transcription and translation, which usually occurs in the resting cell, the period of the cell cycle when the DNA has been duplicated and passed on to the daughter cell, and before it duplicates again to initiate another round of cell. This slide represents that process. The DNA is copied and transcribed to an RNA molecule, namely messenger RNA, or mRNA. This process is called transcription because the DNA's building blocks are deoxyribonucleic acid monomers that are converted or transcribed to ribonucleic acid monomers that are linked together to produce the macromolecule. This process occurs in the nucleus. The messenger RNA is then transported to the cytoplasm by means of the nuclear pores and are then translated to a different chemical entity, a protein. The protein monomers are made up of amino acids, thus translating the RNA to a protein. In this slide, replication and transcription are depicted. Here, once again, DNA is replicated into a faithful copy and passed on to its daughter cells, where in this particular part of the cartoon, the DNA is transcribed from a DNA nucleic acid to an RNA nucleic acid, which is then translated into a protein. This slide presents a table of some of the primary functions of a protein and indicates the critical nature of the information stored in the DNA. Some proteins that are formed are antibodies, enzymes, specific messengers, they also have structural components, and they are responsible for transport and storage of other molecules. Antibodies bind to specific foreign particles, such as viruses and bacteria, and help protect the body. Enzymes carry out almost all of the thousands of chemical reactions that take place in the cell. They also assist with the formation of new macromolecules by reading the genetic information stored in the DNA. Hormones are a messenger protein, and they transmit signals to coordinate biological processes between different cells, tissues, and organs. Proteins are very important structural components as well. They provide structure and support for the cell. On a large scale, they also allow the body to move. Other proteins are used for transportation and storage. These proteins bind and carry atoms and small molecules within cells and throughout the body. This slide summarizes the primary functions of the DNA. The DNA molecule is often referred to as the stuff of life, meaning without this molecule, life would not exist. The DNA molecule is responsible for its own replication, allowing for an exact copy to be passed on to its daughter cell. The DNA molecule also serves as the informational molecule or blueprint for the accurate synthesis of RNA and proteins, molecules necessary for the maintenance of life. Don't forget to subscribe and click the bell. Please like this video and leave a comment and provide me some input, especially if you have anything to suggest. Bye.